you think you know people, but they're really just playing a game. It's like a living game of Clue. But when you're playing Clue at home, you're like, oh, you're my friend. You're, just playing the game. I'm glad to be back.
And you're back for an amazing reason. Congrats.
Thank you so much. I was thrilled and surprised. And I kind of forgotten there was even that award. Because I'm so bad about knowing how the show works. People are like, I'm going to vote for you. I'm like, it's too late. That's not how it works. I got voted off. Like, you don't vote to keep people on. And they're like, no, for AFG. I'm like, what's that? And they're like, America's Favorite Houseguest. I'm like, that would be AFH. So was very confused, but I'm delighted. And it was very fun. And I'm very grateful that people recognized me as being, I guess, fun to watch. And I can give some of the money to charity and do some good from this wacky experience. Yeah,
I was going to say, at least, it was a wacky experience, but you got something out of it for sure.
Yes.
I have to ask you about this jury tonight. They were a little shady. What was going through your mind when people were saying things as they put their key into the box?
Well, I thought we weren't supposed to really give it away. Like we were supposed to put the key in and say, I'm choosing this person because of X, Y, and Z. And there were some reads that I thought were very pointed. And I was like, guys, you're giving it away. Again, I can only speak for myself. And I just wanted to keep it classy. And I wasn't very articulate, but what I meant to say was I have to vote for the person who I think worked the hardest and with more integrity. And that's why I voted for Miesha, just because she had won, I think, 3 HOHs and 2 vetoes. She was kind of unstoppable. She was very prepared. She knew the game. She put in the work. She's incredibly focused. And she's really good at the game. She won so many competitions, not just the physical ones, like the movie one at the end. And just so many. She's really, really good. The only thing she's not good at is organizing a schedule. I did smoke her on that one.
Yeah, I think, as much as the jury is a little bit anti-Todrick, at least we had someone who really worked for their win, right? She did win competitions, which is nice.
Yes. And he worked very hard as well. I think there was some additional things from live feeds that were said about people after they left, which didn't seem to be necessary. And I think that's what rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah, jury management, right? It was lacking a little bit.
Yeah.
Was it awkward at the end? Because it was awkward at home, watching everyone get up. I know you hugged Todrick. I know you're kind of taking a different route than some other people are a little more upset. Was it awkward though in that moment?
It was definitely a lukewarm room. And I think part of it, to give you background and insider scoop, is that, we're working also under COVID protocol. And they said, when the people first come out, don't get in their shot. And I was still thinking of when we first got out of the house, we weren't allowed to hug Julie because it was also COVID protocol, don't go near anybody. So I think that for me was oh, can we get up? Oh, I don't know. For other people, I don't know why they were sitting there, but these people won essentially, and they deserve some recognition.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about the COVID situation. In terms of Cynthia, obviously she's the only one who voted for Todrick.
Yes.
She must have been so confused.
He's very charming, and they had a bond from the very beginning. And I don't know what all of their conversations were, but I could see why she would vote for him without, I believed him enough to get rid of Shanna, and when I go back and I watch the tape and I see how deceptive it was, then you change your mind. But she hasn't seen any of that. So as someone who's been in there, you don't have all the information to really make an informed decision. So I think she did what she obviously thought was right.
Do you think, well, first of all, I know you privately and publicly apologized to Shanna. Were you happy that you kind of also got to do it on the show tonight?
Yeah, I was really, when you F up majorly, you think of ways how can I make this a positive? And the lesson there was like, don't listen to people, judge them by their actions, see how they treat you, see what they do. I know that, but I didn't remember that in the house. And I just wanted to reiterate that to people, like, I messed up because I listened to somebody and I should have just paid attention to what they were actually doing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a valuable lesson. And I just wanted it on the record too. And Shanna was so gracious with her response. And that was the only thing that I regretted about the show and that made me feel icky and gross and like, ew, why did I do this? And when I was able to correct that, and I did it immediately when I got out, I felt better about it.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, I know you know Todrick to an extent. Do you think he will learn from this experience and maybe reach out to somebody and maybe reflect on like kind of like what you did when you got out of the house?
I hope so. I think he's a good person, and I think he probably became very swept away by the game. And I think when you're in that house, there's no sounding board. It's just you're in your own head. And he probably thought he was doing great and doing good things and playing a tough game and doing what he should. And without people giving you feedback, you don't know. Like if you're singing a song and you're off tune for part of it, sometimes you don't know. But when somebody says, "Ooh, that one part, that didn't work," that's when you make an adjustment. And hopefully he'll make that adjustment now that he knows that some of the gameplay seemed a little too personal.
Yeah. I mean, the sounding board is just other people, but at that point it becomes like a mob mentality. So
yeah,
you don't know what's right, I guess, sometimes.
No, there's very little, you can get lost in that house so easily. So yeah. I understand that. And I wish him the very best.
I mean, well, you've done reality TV before. Will you look back on this as a pleasant experience? How does it compare to your other experiences?
It's very, very hard, and it's pleasant in the overall because I made great friends, but it's a precarious show to do because you think you know people, but they're really just playing a game. It's like a living game of Clue, but when you're playing Clue at home, you're like, oh, you're my friend. You're, just playing the game. In the house, the lines get blurred, and that's really hard to figure out for me because I'm just like, I base everything on like, oh, that's a nice person, I'll be fine. And I'm just a little too gullible for this game.
Yeah, is that the one thing you think when celebrities go in there, they might not realize, well, one, you're being watched constantly and it's almost like a mirror up to yourself.
Yeah, it's there's so many dynamics to this game that is unlike any other television show that any of us have participated in. First and foremost, like, you're in quarantine for a week and you don't see anybody. Then you go into a house for a week before the show starts and you bond incredibly because it's just the 11 of you making meals together, fixing the clogged toilet together, spending every waking hour together. And then at some point you have to start turning on each other. And that is just so, at least for me, so like anti everything I'm about. And that was very, very hard. And you don't realize it until you're there. Like literally, I was like, I have time open in January. This will be fun. It's a game. And it becomes real intense real quick.
Well, you won America's Favorite Houseguest. That's exciting.
Yes.
I would love to learn like just a little bit more about your charity before we wrap.
Yeah, it's called True Colors United. It was founded about 20 years ago by my friend Cindy Lauper. And she initially when she started it, invited me to be on the board. And I've been working with them for the last approximate 20 years. And we work to eliminate youth homelessness, especially amongst LGBTQ plus youth who are unfortunately more at risk to experience homelessness. It's been very, very rewarding. And we have members even on our staff who were homeless and are now working for the organization. And we just, we know that this is a totally fixable problem. And we work tirelessly to find a solution.
Well, that's amazing.
I'm very excited to give them some of the money so we can continue doing great things.